So good morning. My name is Veronica Wilson, and I'm a program administrator here at Mendocino County and the Social Services Department. Um, I am welcoming you today to the Mendocino County Housing Resource Fair. This is the fourth presentation or fair, a virtual session for the fourth of four. And today's session is on transitional and permanent housing resources in Mendocino County. So welcome. So my role within Mendocino County is I help administer the Mendocino County Homeless Services Continuum of Care. And I'm going to let my co-facilitator introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Lily Caravello, and I'm a program administrator with Social Services Special Projects Team, Outreach and Navigation Unit. And we do a bunch of stuff, mostly related to Medi-Cal, CalFresh, benefits, family homelessness. And I work with Veronica.
Excellent. So a few housekeeping things, because today's session is being recorded. We ask that everyone who is not presenting to please remain muted. We will come at the end. If we have time, we'll be able to answer some questions or have a little bit of dialogue. And if you have any specific questions, please enter them in the chat. We also have a Q&A function, but I might not see that as much. So either way, it's fine. So a little bit about this webinar series. This is specifically designed for staff working in any kind of helping profession to understand more about housing resources that are in our community that are available for people who are experiencing homelessness. Each of our sessions has looked at a different section of our housing and homelessness services system. As I said before, this is the last session in the series, and we are recording these and they are publicly posted on our COC website, which is probably in the next slide. We will be sending out resources, the PowerPoint presentation from today and any other handouts that we may reference. If you were forwarded this invitation, we don't have your email address. We don't know how to contact you. So please reach out to Lily, and there's her email there. Do you want to put it in the chat for us, Lily?
I'll do that.
Great, thanks. Okay, so this is our list of presenters that we have planned for today. I'm not 100% sure if everybody's here, but we're going to do our best. So I know that for today, I know that we have Teresa DeSimone identified for Community Development Commission of Mendocino County, but I believe Michelle Alvarez is going to be making our presentation today. And so we've got some others, and so we'll just go through the list today. So Michelle,
Okay.
I'm going to ask that our presenters, whenever it's time to begin, that you turn your camera on, and that way we can highlight you through our new focus mode that we're using.
Yeah. And I just want to heads up, each presenter has about 5 to 10 minutes for their presentation. It's kind of just a brief overview. But as Veronica said before, we'll hold questions until the very end if we have any time available at the end. But this is really an opportunity for you to efficiently hear about as many programs serving these populations as possible in a short amount of time. And we might end a little after 11 o'clock this time. Okay.
Excellent. Okay.
Let's go for it.
Michelle, take it away.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Michelle Alvarez, and I am a property manager here at the Community Development Commission for our project-based voucher program. And we're located in Ukiah at 1076 North State Street. Next slide. So what we do is we provide rentals to qualifying low-income families and individuals. We do have to go through a waitlist program. And then once everybody is through the waitlist and they're pulled for eligibility, the file comes to me and I process for suitability. And then households who meet the current income qualifications and are suitable for the unit will be in my drawer. I will call them up as soon as a unit becomes available. And we try to get people housed as quickly as we can. So we don't need any referrals for this program. We just need individuals to apply on the wait list. This is the project-based voucher program. So really it's just run from the wait list. And in order to apply on the wait list, you would want to send the client to 1076 North State Street in Ukiah. They can contact the front office at the phone number listed. And we have the front desk associates, Joelle and Treva. They're very, they can answer lots and lots of questions. So if you can't get a hold of me, they'll be able to talk to the ladies at the front desk. Next slide. All right, so how can we help manage clients' expectations? Just know that the wait list can take some time. So just letting your client know that the time frame might be a little bit long, but it is worth the wait. What is the process that we do? We have an application process. Once that application process is completed, then they will be put on the wait list. They'll go through an eligibility part of the whole application process, and then also suitability, and then the lease up will be the next step. And the next question, I feel like I have to sneeze right now. Just one moment. Okay, I think it went away. I just had to say it out loud. All right, the next question is there a wait list or an open close period? The project-based voucher wait list is never closed. We're always accepting applications. So anytime anybody wants to apply, they may do so. Next slide. So different ways you can reach us is through our website, cdchousing.org. You can review the information on that website, and we have listings for our units, or you can call the number that's listed on the screen. If you don't see it, it is 707-463-5462, and you can speak to anyone at the front desk, or you can even ask for myself if you would like. Next slide. Oh.
Wonderful. Thank you, Michelle.
You're
We sincerely
welcome.
appreciate your presentation.
Thank you.
So we're going to move on to the next organization. Is Dan McIntyre or anyone from RCHDC present today? I didn't receive a confirmation. Okay, so Rural Communities Housing Development Corporation, or RCHDC, is a low-income housing developer. They own and operate low-income housing units all across Northern California, Nevada. I think they may have even opened one in Hawaii or in somewhere else. It was pretty extensive. All of the information on all of their housing units is available on their website, www.rchdc.org. And so they're a really great resource. And on our COC website, that Lily plugged in the training, the website that'll take you to the recordings here. But on that same webpage, there is under resources, there's forms and applications. And so we have applications for these projects available that are downloadable. You can fill them out online with a client, things like that.
Veronica, since we don't have them here, what are some examples of some units around Mendocino County that are run by RCHDC?
You know what? Let me
I was
pull up
like
their
trying to think
website
off the top of
really
my head. Okay. Because I know it's not like totally clear when you're driving around, you see a unit to know that that's one of the units, because there's so many that they're managing.
Okay, let me. Okay,
Or you,
this is their website. And this is the list of the affordable housing. I went here to the affordable housing, find a community. So Del Norte, Humboldt, Lake Here's Mendocino County. So Dwayne Hill Terrace, Garden Court, they manage, they don't own. McCarty Manor, Orchard Manor, places like that. So in Ukiah mostly, but also in Fort Bragg. There's one in Lake County.
yeah, it's a good resource. Go check out their website for sure.
Okay. So, Judy Albert, are you here with us today? Anyone with Project Sanctuary? They did. Oh, you are Judy. Judy.
Hi,
There we go.
so somehow I was confused, Veronica. I didn't necessarily know I was going to be presenting, but I certainly can talk about our transitional program, okay?
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Mhm. So you have the questions that you're gonna,
I can't prompt them. I don't have them here. I just had a little bit of information. If you want to just talk about,
okay, sure, I'll just go ahead. So
yeah,
I'll
just
just
go
go
ahead
ahead
and
and
talk
talk
about
about it. Okay, so our transitional program is mostly connected also to our emergency shelter program in terms of the majority of people who move into our transitional housing come from our emergency shelter program. And every once in a while, there's an exception to the rule, but that really comes from somebody who's been doing receiving some other kind of long-term services from our program, either through counseling, TROs, etc. So we have a location for a transitional house, which we actually kind of have anecdotally called the mansion, just because it is a large house with multiple rooms, and it's really kind of designed as somewhat of a communal living place. So every family gets a bedroom and then they share a kitchen, living room. But this is a very large house, so it actually has two large bedrooms, a large dining room table. And depending on the size of the family, sometimes we actually even give them two rooms if they have a really large family. They can stay for up to 2 years, but that's also based on their participation. And during the time that they're there, they get regular case management and counseling. And the goal is for them to really achieve, and get back on their feet and move into their own housing. And we find that ever since we've had this program probably for the last 12 years, it's grant funded. It was competitive last year, and we were really happy that we were able to receive funding for the program again. Because we actually do find that for people who have been made homeless due to domestic violence and have their whole lives thrown into upheaval, that it takes about 2 years really for them to put all the pieces back together, to, get on all the housing lists, to find work if they need to save money. So while they're there, there is really no cost to them except for their own purchase of food, etc. So they're not paid any kind of rent or utilities. So we also have a savings program that's implemented. And for some people, this is the first time that they're ever able to actually even save some money. And that oftentimes will get them into have enough for a security deposit and clear up past debts, etc. So we actually love our transitional housing program. We find it's one of the most helpful for our clients. But it really is not what I'd say just open to the general public. It really is designed for domestic violence victims who've moved through our emergency shelter or are receiving services also through our offices. So we have a house over on the coast also, just like we have a business over there. So one house, but over here we have an apartment and then the big house that we call the mansion house. That, depending on the quantity of people in the family, can serve anywhere from 8 to 12 families.
Great. Thank you so much, Judy. You covered everything that was in our presentation prompt.
Okay, good.
So you did great. Thank you.
And Judy, could we just clarify one area? In order, the pathway to get into transitional housing, you were saying, was for the majority is for those who have already received services and have been housed in your emergency shelter. And
Yes.
so the criteria to get into the emergency shelter, could you just briefly give us an example of what that criteria is so that we understand what the pathway is?
Well, okay, so one of the problems, like all shelters, is because at the emergency shelter, people can reside there for up to 3 months. And it's a very small shelter that really only can house a maximum of 13 people. That's women and children, men, etc. And so there's not a great, there's almost always a waiting list. So, but you definitely have to be a victim of domestic violence or sexual assault. It's not a situation where there are many people that we meet that ask for services, but really what it is that they have actually been just, and I don't mean just, but they're homeless individuals who have maybe suffered a lot of things, but it has not been primarily domestic violence. We really are dealing with people who are fleeing a domestic violence situation or have been kicked out of their homes due to domestic violence.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Judy.
Okay, next up we have Jose Hernandez with Redwood Community Services. So,
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
yes, wonderful. Hi, welcome.
Awesome. So yeah, my name is Jose Hernandez. I'm with Redwood Community Services, specifically Stepping Stones. Stepping Stones is we'll call it Redwood Community Services (RCS). Stepping Stones is RCS's Adult Behavioral Health Service Department, and I'm going to be talking about our transitional housing programs. So we can go into the next slide. So at Stepping Stones, we have the Nova Apartments in Gibson House. So the Nova Apartment used to be called, or sometimes referred as the Tay Apartments, or there was previously called the Washington Court Apartments. So we recently changed them to the Nova Apartments. And then we have Gibson House. So within these two programs, again, it's a transitional housing program. Specifically more of a mental health program that through transitional housing, and clients or youth part of this program have to be receiving our specialty mental health services, which include therapy, rehabilitation, group and individual, targeted case management, assessments, clinical review, etc. And requirements for the youth, they have to meet 20 hours of productivity a week. They have to engage with their service providers, therapists, case managers, and they have to maintain their sobriety as well. It is sober living. And then amongst that, follow all the rules, no weapons, no drugs or alcohol on the properties. And going back a little bit, the Nova apartments are more independent living versus Gibson House is more communal living. Gibson House, a eight bedroom house, very similar to kind of what Project Sanctuary kind of explained right now. It's both programs are to help the youth get back on their feet, get the level of independence that they need, so that they can transition into the community within their own housing. They're able to navigate the services and resources available to them, but most importantly, be independent. And I think I saw a question. Both are in Ukiah. Yeah. Okay. Next slide. So who's eligible? So we have three populations under the programs, whether it's the Nova Apartments or Gibson House. We have the extended foster care youth, also known as transitional housing placement, non-minor dependents, or AB12 youth. Under our program, they fall under the transitional housing placement plus foster care program, and it is for those youth that have entered extended foster care on their 18th birthday, and it's up until their 21st birthday. So we work with the youth along with their social workers, and then the other program that we have is our THP Plus program, which is for youth that have exited out of the extended foster care program, the one that I just explained, and that one's a 36-month program or up until their 25th birthday. And again, they can be between 18 and 24 or up until the 24th birthday. 25th. And then the last program that we have is the Tay Wellness program, which is I forgot to put it on there, which is any youth within the age limit that I'm talking about right now, 18 to 24, up until the 25th birthday. They didn't necessarily have to be part of the foster care system, or or you know or part of the two previous programs that I just explained. They can just be within the age, experiencing homelessness, mental health challenges, substance use, or co-occurring disorders. And it's a 24-month program. All right, next slide. So there's two ways of referring a client. You can do it via our online referral system, which when I did this last week, our online referral system was down, but that is the link right there. You just go to our website or their homepage, go under the Get Help tab, and then select Transitional Housing, or there's the link again, like I said. Not sure if it's working today. I've got to double check. Or they can also come into our office, our Stepping Stones office, which is on 800 North State Street, or right next to the Arbor, if you guys know where the Arbor is at. And they can request a housing programs application, and they can request it up front, and then it goes to me, and then I reach out. So again, it can be either a provider or a client doing the online referral. Anyone can do it, and then or if the youth prefers to come in person, they can come into our office and get the application, or a provider can pick it up and take it to them, whatever works. Also, the Arbor Youth Resource Center right next door to us, they often refer many youth to us, so they can also take that route, or they can call our office at the number below. Next step. So, question: how can we help manage clients' expectations, referring to the program? So often they think it's just housing, and they don't have to do anything. So just explaining that it's a mental health program. That way, they know they have to engage in services, and from there, um, just kind of letting them know that there's other requirements and expectations like meeting productivity, which is 20 hours a week, meeting again with the service providers at least once a week with a therapist or case manager. And then again, just following all rules, specifically, sobriety as well. So submitting the process is again submitting the referral or physical application, and it's also good to be proactive and having them sign, if they're not already clients of Stepping Stones, having them sign up for our mental health services through our online referral, which you can also access through our homepage. Go under the Get Help tab, and it will be the mental health service referral. So I would also recommend that they do that referral along with the transitional housing referral or physical paper application. After that, I will review. I'll call them to schedule an interview. After the interview, if they are accepted, we'll do the intake paperwork, schedule a move-in date, and then move them in. And then when we move them in, whether it's Gibson House or the apartments, we have to do, we got to take some precautions and have them treat their clothing, which we do by having them wash all their clothing, even if it has been washed previously, just because we want to avoid pests. So we'll take him do that. And if it's for the apartment only, we'll take him shopping for some personal items and grocery shopping as well. That way they're good at least for a week. Gibson House, we don't do that just because there's already food there. There's already personal items there. So that's a little difference right there between the apartments and Gibson. And waitlist is currently open right now. Next slide. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, contact our office at 707-468-5536, or you can contact me directly, and I included my cell phone number and my email number there as well. So either way is fine.
Great. Thank you so much, Jose. We really
Yeah.
appreciate your time.
Of course.
Okay. So our next, and it looks like you've got one more slide of resources. So,
Oh yeah. So those are just slides of it's a slide of resources, our homepage, and our transitional housing referral, our behavioral health service referral, and then a link to our youth services page on our website, and as well as at the very last bullet point, I included all the referrals that we have on our website.
Great. And we will include these slides on the COC webpage when we upload the recording. So for all of you that want to get to these resources, they'll be on the COC webpage as well.
hey, great. So our next presenter is Megan Van Sant with the Mendocino County on our Project Home Key Live Oak Apartments. You ready, Megan?
Hi,
Hello.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm struggling with Zoom, which I shouldn't this late in the game, but I can't tell if my video is on. Is my video on?
It is. Yes.
Okay, that's good for me to know. All right, so I'm happy to present County Mendocino Project Home Key Live Oak Apartments to you today. Do you click you do, okay.
Yep.
So Live Oak Apartments it's both transitional and permanent housing, and I'll explain how that works in a second. Designed for households that are homeless or at risk of homelessness. The property is the former Best Western Inn in Ukiah. The county purchased that building in 2021 and has renovated it. And at present, there are actually 49 total units in the building. I wrote 46, but there's actually 49 units in the building. Most of them are studios, but there are 6 two-room units as well. And it's located in Ukiah. Next slide. Okay. So who's eligible for Project Home Key? And Project Homekey is the name of the project. The building itself is Live Oak Apartments. So I kind of use them interchangeably because there's only one Project Homekey site in Mendocino County, but the building itself is called Live Oak Apartments. So who's eligible for housing? You must be homeless or at risk of homelessness. The criteria are pretty much the HUD definitions around homelessness and at risk of homelessness, but we are allowed to house people that are considered at risk. Our priority populations within the homeless and at risk of homelessness criteria are households with children, veterans, seniors, and people with complex health conditions. Next slide, please. So how do you refer a client to our program? We have a pretty detailed website, projecthomekeymendocino.org, and there's a tab called For Partners. We consider all of you or anybody who's working with people that are homeless our partners. So there is a tab there which has the application information. It has the application itself, which is a fillable PDF that you can email in or handwrite and email in, and a verification of housing status. So there's two pieces of paper two documents that need to be submitted for a complete application, and the instructions are there as well. If a client, so we have no wrong door to apply for housing at Live Oak Apartments. Most of our tenants do come through a referral from a homeless service provider, and we use, again, a very broad definition of homeless service provider. So we accept referrals from hospitals, clinics, family resource centers. You don't necessarily have to be a homeless service provider to submit a referral for a client. We also do accept self-referral. So there is a pathway for a client themselves to submit a self-referral. It's a little Google form and asks some questions, and then it goes onto our interest list as well. Next slide. In terms of managing a client's expectations at Live Oak Apartments, this is a fairly traditional affordable housing project in that clients are expected to contribute 30% of their income towards rent. So that is regardless of whether or not they have a housing voucher in hand. We do accept a number of clients that their only contribution is that 30% of their income towards rent, even if they don't have a rental subsidy available to them at that time to make up the difference. But we will be working very intentionally with them to secure any kind of housing subsidy that they may be eligible for. So if you're explaining to a client what to expect at Live Oak, they do need to contribute 30% of their income. The other expectation that's probably important for a client to understand is that the property is well staffed. There's staff there all the time. There's staff there during the day. There is support staff on site at night as well. The property has a number of security cameras, and it has high standards for appropriate public behavior. So that there is a code of conduct that we ask clients to follow. And if they're unable to follow that code of conduct, there will be consequences in terms of lease violations, and it'll be uncomfortable for everybody involved if they're not able to maintain that code of conduct. Next slide, please. So the way our application and referral and tenant selection process works is all applications are on the interest list. We keep that on the interest list. It's not exactly a waiting list because tenants are not selected in terms of how long they've been waiting. Because it is a homeless population and people are constantly finding new housing, moving in and out of the area, and their applications age out pretty quickly. We only review applications that have been submitted within the last 90 days. So if you do have a client that you want to refer to Live Oak Apartments and you submit an application, that's great. They'll go on our interest list. If they're still needing housing 90 days later, you would want to resubmit another application in order to have a fresh application in our system. And I can answer any questions if there is about that process. Next slide, please. How do we reach my program for further information? All of our relevant information is on the website, projecthomekeymendocino.org, and the email to project, and that's an underscore, it's a little bit weird on the screen here, but if you email project_homekey@mendocinocounty.gov, that is our general email address. It's also where you submit, we accept applications by email, so it's where most of the communication around Project Homekey happens, and we will respond to your email if you have any questions for us. Next slide. And so really, all of our information is on the website, including a really detailed program manual if you really want to get into the details of how the project works. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Megan.
Megan. I wanted to do one more clarifying question, just so we're managing expectations. If
Mhm.
someone has a homeless client and they need housing now,
Mm.
is there going to be a place available right now if they send in the referral, or how long would it be typical for them to wait?
Thank you for asking that
Yeah.
question. No, so we do not have immediate housing available. I mean, it's extremely rare. So there have been some times where the timing was such or the situation was urgent enough that somebody did get housed within, let's say, weeks, but it is not a emergency kind of immediate housing situation. We have over 100 people on our waiting list most of the time. So that's just the way it is. But I can't also, again, it's not a traditional waiting list that I'm like, okay, you'll be on the waiting list for over a year. It doesn't work that way either. Again, we keep our applications pretty fresh within that last 90 days. So it's not an immediate housing situation.
There's a quick question in the chat asking, what is an HMIS number? And at first I thought it was a client ID number, but were you referring to their coordinated entry score? Do you know?
I'm wondering if Jenna is looking at the application. So there is an application that asks for the HMIS, on our application asks for the HMIS number. If you don't know it, Jenna, we'll figure it out. So yeah, so if you don't have access to HMIS, it's all an internal one. We ask if you know it, great. If you don't know what it is, leave it blank. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Great, thank you. Okay.
Thanks, Megan.
So wonderful. So thanks, Megan. Next up is Scott Marsh with Mendocino County Youth Project, who I saw just a second ago.
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, probably on my other page. Okay. All right. So I can do the slides for you. And so Scott Marsh is with Mendocino County Youth Project, or MCYP. I don't have a lot of presentation, but Scott, if you want me to prompt you, just let me know.
Okay, thank you. I don't know what is going on with my screen right now, but all right, I'm Scott Marsh. I'm with the Mendocino County Youth Project. We are a transitional age youth housing. We serve the kids from 18 to 24. For us to refer to our program, you can go online at mcyp.org, or you can come into the office. If you go to the website, the referral is down at the bottom. It's a really easy process. You just click on there and fill it out, and it goes right to our admin. To guide, kind of same thing to our, how do you guide to our program? Same thing. Have them come in. We're located on State Street in Ukiah. That's probably one of the better ways to just come in so we can meet the kids or the youth.
So Scott, your transitional housing program,
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about that. That's what we're here for today.
Yeah. Okay, so for the transitional, we serve 18 to 24. It's an independent living shelter. We have 2 houses. We have 9 to 10 beds between the 2 houses. It is a co-ed facility. We do also take in families. We separate, so it's co-ed, but we separate males in one room, females in the other. They are required to do, there are requirements for it. There's 20 hours of productivity, which is going to school, work, or volunteering. They have chores to do that they're assigned. There's a curfew that they have. What else?
What else is provided besides housing? Any services?
Yeah, so we do have, when they get in, we do sign them up for our therapy. And we also have case managers. This is only available on in Ukiah. Our shelters are both in Ukiah. Yeah, sorry, there's a case manager assigned to them. They're required to do case management. They're not required to do the therapy. However, we do get them assessed. If they do want therapy, then they can be signed up for therapy as well. We also provide basic needs for them, clothing if they need, food, personal items, stuff like that when they get in. Then we also help them find jobs, where we really connected with the adult school here in Ukiah. So we're really trying to help the kids get their high school diploma or GEDs. Yeah.
How can we help manage clients' expectations when referring to your program?
I think just letting them know that there is requirements and that it is an independent living facility. We don't have 24-hour surveillance or staffing there. So we do have support throughout the day, and just reiterate that there are requirements. It's just the little things. It's just learning the little things to do, like doing your chores, meeting your productivity, stuff like that.
Is there a waiting list or an open or closed period?
Yeah, right now our shelters are full, but there is a waiting list, and it's an open waiting list. And it's not really first come, first serve. It's more on priority of what's going on. We do try and prioritize families, and then kind of go down the list from that for certain needs.
Okay. Any other bits of information we might need to know when referring a client?
No, it's really simple. I mean, going online is probably the best way to do it, to mcyp.org. Anybody can do it. Clients can do it themselves, or agencies, or calling the office, and getting in touch with me. And usually what we'll do is we'll get the referral. I'll do an interview, get them set up, see where they're at, put them on the waiting list, and then intake them. Then there'll be an intake when they get accepted into the program.
Great. Thank you so much, Scott. That was really great. Anything else from you, Lily? Okay.
Thanks,
Great.
Scott.
Yep.
Next up, we have Fort Street Project. Drew Yakamini Hare is here with us to make that presentation. So Drew, take it away.
Hi, I'm Drew. I'm with Fort Street Project. Today I'm talking about our permanent housing. We currently have 12 two-bedroom apartments. We also own Garden Court, but that's property managed by RCHDC, as Veronica said earlier. We have 4 two-story townhouses, and then we have 2 fourplexes. We accept vouchers, we accept private pay, we accept all of that stuff. We do currently have a wait list, and we currently have an opening as well. So it's no referral process. People can just come and fill out an application and get on our wait list. We can, it's on our website. You can email those to me. You can walk in. Case managers, folks can turn it in for their clients. One of the biggest things that managing their expectations is our Unity Village is what it's called, our apartment complexes. We are a sober living environment, and it is only for families. If people are in the process of being reunified with their children, that's great. But to build the apartments, we got a grant with the city for formerly homeless families or homeless families. So it's specifically no single adults. And that's it, I think, unless you have questions.
How can we help manage client expectations when referring to your program?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that you would let them know is that it is a sober site, that's a sober living area. That's really the biggest one. We don't require them to do any programming because it's really a self-sufficient permanent housing apartments. So if there is issues that come up, we will do like case management with them or something like that. But it's really just it's your apartment unless something goes wrong and then we get involved.
Is the application available on the website?
Yes, it is. Or at the front desk, or I can email it. It's all over.
I'm just looking through. Any other suggestions or bits of information we should know when talking to a client about the program?
No, just to keep your applications updated. So if you don't currently have a housing voucher and you do that, to come in and make a note, because that's what I do is when I have an apartment, I start at the top of the waiting list and I work way down. And so if I know that there's a voucher, that helps prove income and that type of stuff. It just helps speed up the process.
Excellent.
And Drew, you
Yeah.
mentioned for Unity Village, it's for families with children only, or those going through the unifying process. But for single adults, you also have, what's that program?
So unfortunately, single adults aren't accepted for Unity Village. If we
Not
do,
for Unity Village, but
yeah, if we do have someone come in with a single adult, we refer them to RCHDC for our other property, Garden Court at the end of by the old Ford.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, great. And our last presentation is from Mendocino Coast Hospitality Center. I believe Paul Davis is here with us today and will be making a presentation. There he is, Paul.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Paul. I'm the Executive Director of the Mendocino Coast Hospitality Center and here to talk today a little bit about our transitional housing program. So we have 24 total available beds of transitional housing split between two properties. We have a house which has 15 beds, and we have an additional 9 beds of transitional housing at our main location at 101 North Franklin Street in Fort Bragg. This is a 24-month maximum stay program. It is fee-based. We do have minimums, and then we have minimums and maximums per bed, but it is 30% of your income, 10% of that of your monthly fees we retain in savings for you to take with you when you find a place and move. We serve adult individuals and families. Our priority cohort is families with children and single adults who are active in mental health recovery services. Although, we do take homeless individuals who are not in mental health recovery services in certain circumstances, but that's our priority cohort. Our transitional housing program is primarily for people that we're already working with. In most cases, we would expect that you would be in our emergency shelter for at least 30 days before we move you into transitional housing. We will take some referrals from some of our community partners in some situations, including folks that are working with their own behavioral health clients and not in our clinic. Sometimes exits from rehab facilities. Our expectations are basically you will meet with one of our case managers and come up with a care plan. That'll include a certain number of hours of weekly program requirements, as well as 2 hours of community service per week, which can be accomplished at our facilities or any other nonprofit in the community. We have a lot of people that like to volunteer at the food bank. We have one person right now who works at a preschool, I think. So we take that. If you're working, some of those hours of program are reduced, obviously, because you're working. Yeah, it's 2 year stay. It's independent living, so we do have house meetings every week, and your case manager or other provider through MCHC, will be visiting and working with you throughout the week on your case plan. But basically, overnight and during the day, you're on your own. Folks make their own meals. It is congregate living for the most part, so we have rooms at our facilities. Most of those are double occupancy. We do have one family unit at our house property. Um, so, if we had a family of four, say, for example, that's a 2 bedroom unit, we might move them into that. We make other family accommodations within the house, however we can. We have a couple of single occupancy rooms. We use those primarily for folks whose symptomology won't allow them to have a roommate. Yeah. So 2 years, we have begun to be able to use some vouchers. So if we have folks that are approved for a voucher during their stay, and we know are going to have a hard time, relocating quickly, we're able to help them keep that voucher by accepting it. That's kind of new for us. Yeah. So the pathway into transitional housing is primarily through the emergency shelter.
Sounds like it's not an absolute hard criteria, but that is the best way for folks to access the program.
Yes, it is the best way. So we have had contacts for example, from Ford Street. Folks are getting out of rehab there. Usually if you have a strong referral and the person's really in need and we don't have room at the shelter, we'll work with other providers on that.
Is there a specific contact person for the program at Hospitality Center?
Yeah, her name's Rebecca Gassaway, and she can be reached at the main number there, and then we have a auto attendant that'll take you right to her.
Great. Thank you, Paul.
Sure.
We had one question in the chat earlier that I'd like to pose to all the presenters if they're willing. And it asked if any of the housing options presented today are pet friendly. And if whenever you speak to that, if you could also, if there's a difference between pet and emotional support animal or service animal.
I'll speak to mine. We asked for a no pet policy, but we will accept emotional support animals within reason. If it has to be well behaved, all of that stuff, up to date on shots, and with the county. What's it called? What's with the county?
License?
License. That's it. There we go.
us at MCYP, we do not allow pets.
I can speak for the Community Development Commission of Mendocino County. We will accept pets upon approval. They do have to be fully vaccinated or inoculated with current rabies shots, and we do request updates every year. So as long as the pet is approved, if the pet is a service animal, we will waive the pet deposit, which is $150. If they don't have the animal as an animal for a compassion animal, then we do charge the $150. That's about it.
MCHC takes service animals, obviously, and we will take emotional support animals with a letter from a provider, and we verify those, and they have to be seeing that person for at least a month. And we also for all animals require current shots, altered, and regular flea and tick treatments.
The
Judy?
project, yes, so at Project Sanctuary, because the majority of our housing, the emergency shelter and the big transitional house is congregate living. We have not been able to go ahead and have pets come in. We have made exceptions for the individual apartments if it is emotional support animal or service animal.
Jose? I know you were trying to come off mute.
We don't take any pets at our apartments.
Megan, are you still with us? I think she had to jump off. I think they do reasonable accommodation process, so it's on a case-by-case situation. I think they have a no pet policy, but reasonable accommodations can be made for service animals, emotional support animals, things like that. And again, it has to be within reason because it is a pretty small, tight complex. So one of the examples that I heard a long time ago about the reasonability is it would be unreasonable to request a horse in an upstairs apartment. So remember, it has to be, even whenever it is related to a disability, it still has to not take away from or change the heart of the program. And it looks like Michelle added that the CDC project-based voucher units are located throughout Mendocino County. They have a total of 177 units located in Ukiah, Willits, and Fort Bragg. Lily?
I think we've come to the end of it today.
Think so. I wanted to thank everybody very much for attending. I want to thank all of our presenters for taking the time. I know some of you were caught a little flat-footed, so thank you for rolling with it. And we appreciate everyone. And the recording will be available on our COC website, mendocinococ.org/trainings.
But not instantly.
Not instantly.
It'll
Give me
take
a few
bit,
days.
Yeah.
It'll be up by
We'll get
Monday
it there.
at the latest.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for joining, everyone.